Okay, so there it is, the map of the operating segments. If you look at the blue, that's segment one. Those are that's 10.7 miles of guideway, 9 stations, from East Kapolei to Aloha Stadium. That system is in operation. We turned that over to the Department of Transportation Services back in 2023. And it's been operating since then. So the second portion, the orange portion that you see there, is the next, I want to say, 4 stations and 5.2 miles of guideway. We're set to open that up. Our target date is October 1st. It's a very aggressive schedule for us. That's a no-float schedule. That means if everything goes 100% our way, with train testing, which we're in right now, migration testing, we will be able to open that system by October 1st. The second segment.
So I think it would be better to sit
At the table?
Yes.
Okay.
Audience, the microphones, no, it's not.
Well, gotcha. Okay.
I can't quite see the names of the stations or the locations. Could you please just say
Sure.
where the next segment will go?
Yes. Okay. So the first segment goes from East Kapolei to Aloha Stadium. And then the second segment goes from Halawa to the Middle Street Transit Center. Okay, that's in Kalihi. And so that the stations are Makalapa, Joint Base Pearl Harbor, Lilipawa, which is the airport, Ahua, which is Lagoon Drive, and then Kahawiki, which is Middle Street. Right. So that's the second segment. And well, we're targeting October 1st for the opening and and handing the assets over to DTS for operations. You're welcome. Okay, and then finally the third segment, which is there, it's kind of like a purple magenta. That's the last 6 stations into town. I want to say about 3 point something miles of guideway. And we have a truncated scope, which basically takes us down to the Civic Center that's Salt Kaka'ako. Okay. Okay. Should I just next slide? Okay, so segment 2, again, approximately 5.2 miles of guideway with 4 stations located at Pearl Harbor Airport, Lagoon Drive, and Middle Street. Guideway and station construction have reached substantial completion, and we're substantially complete. It's the second quarter of 2025. We're installing our core systems. Testing is underway with trial running expected to begin in summer of 2025. So right now we're train testing, and we're testing the system as it migrates from segment 1 into segment 2, and those happen in the nighttime hours because there's no riders when we're testing the system. The transfer of assets to DTS is expected in late 2025, and I know the mayor announced October 1st in his State of the City speech earlier this month. And upon opening this segment, we would be 84% of total guideway miles completed, and 13 of 19 stations will be in service. Okay. And then on to the segment 3, construction progress. So again, this is approximately 3 miles of elevated guideway, includes 6 stations from Middle Street Transit Center through downtown Honolulu to the Civic Center station. Again, that's Salt Kaka'ako by the Down to Earth, if you know where that is in that area. Utilities relocation work started in 2022. That's what we're currently doing right now in downtown. So if you see in the downtown area and Dillingham Boulevard, downtown, we're close to completion in downtown. So the May-June timeframe, we will be completed with utility relocations downtown. And then on Dillingham Boulevard, completion is expected by first quarter of 2026, right? So It's coming up pretty soon. And so, and in August 2024, the guideway and stations design and construction contract was awarded to Tudor Perini Corporation. That's another contractor we have. And then we began they're starting already with geotechnical borings, which began in January, and they're drilling guideway columns in downtown by summer of 2025. So we're going to be breaking ground this summer for guideway and station construction in downtown. And that's a huge milestone for us. So you're going to see pillars going up downtown.
Are you still having issues with being able to get the land on Dillingham? Because I understand there was issues regarding something they want to sell it when.
Yeah, so right now we're working with the area stakeholders mainly for easements, right? We're not taking full takes. These are not full takes, not full property takes. We're in negotiations and we're trying to reach an agreement. And so what happens when that is when there's when negotiations, right? So yeah, but we're currently yeah, so we're working with Kamehameha Schools mainly to secure the easements.
My question is, could that possibly interrupt the target date for?
Yeah, no, hopefully not. And so we even our negotiations, we have a time frame for those negotiations to be able to maintain our schedule. So we are trying to reach an agreement, but yes, so we're hopefully close. Okay, and then I just wanted to talk about that picture up there a little bit. So what's happening in that picture is we're what's called micro tunneling. If anybody knows, this is in Dillingham Boulevard. If you know where the Kapalama Canal is, right? This is underneath the Kapalama Canal. So underneath the water, we're undergrounding utilities, 138 kVs, which are these really big poles that you see maybe on the highways. But we're having to underground that because of the guideway, right? And so those utilities come down and underground, and they go into they're being relocated underneath the water, and then they pop up on the other side. But all those utilities are coming down. And I'm going to show you a video in a little bit to kind of that simulates that, and so you can get somewhat of a visual. Okay, but any questions here with segment 3? Timelines, okay. Okay, so this is our Stay Connected slide. We have a lot of resources on our website, a lot of information. So if there's nothing if something I didn't cover here that you want to find out, you can visit honolulutransit.org. Or you can, if you wanted to, as I mentioned, Skyline is operated by the Department of Transportation of the city, Department of Transportation Services. We have their number up there because we get a lot of calls about the service. And you know, the hours of operation and whatnot. So we provide folks with that information, but we also give them the number to call. Okay. And there you go. Those are again, thank you. There's again a Stay Connected slide with the 24-hour project hotline. So we actually man that phone. I manage it. Our staff has it. So if you call it, chances are you'll probably be speaking to me or one of the staff at HART. Okay, and this information again is available all on honolulutransit.org. Okay, so I'm going to show you now a construction video. Oh, there it goes. And this is a simulation, it's a rendering. So this is utility relocation and guideway construction that you're going to see. And this is from the point of view of being on Dillingham on the ground. And that's Mokule'a Street. And you're looking east on Dillingham Boulevard. So what happens first, these are existing conditions and we're removing some of the trees. And then utility relocation, we have an MOT, a maintenance of traffic. We're single lane, east and westbound, while we're in construction. We maintain the bus stops so that there's no, we have to keep them running on time. So we pull them off to the side there, so there's no, so they don't get backed up. And the utility relocation is going on underneath the road, right? So we're digging up the utilities. We're putting in the what we call the jackets, where we're gonna put the utilities inside. All the utilities go inside those pipes. We're removing above ground utilities as well. Right, so all the light poles, everything comes down. Right? That's 138 kV power pole removal. Those are the big electricity poles. All of those come down, and they're being relocated underneath the road. Right? So that's the work zone, and that machine right there is creating a median and drilling holes for the columns. And that's the guideway. Putting the landscaping. And then finally restoration in the final condition. Right, and this is an above ground view of the same thing that we just saw.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joey. That was awesome. So with keeping some more time for Q&A in case anybody has any questions for us to bring back to Senator Gabbard, we'll try to run through our office updates in about this next 7 minutes. So something I really wanted to update you guys on is SB 662. And I don't know if you guys remember the last Listen Story meeting where we discussed this, but SB 662 originally was the road transfer bill to transfer the villages of Kapolei roads from state to city to get the roads paved, police enforcement, and just to keep them upkept to all the other standards that other roads on the west side are kept to. So recently, just yesterday, SB 662 passed its final reading in the House, which is great news, but they did unfortunately have to chop up the bill a little bit. So what the bill does after the amendments that they inserted is only part that is left is it allows the Honolulu Police Department to enforce statewide traffic code on all of the VOK roads. So now it's not really the road transfer from the state ownership to the city, which is very unfortunate. But if the bill does make it to conference, so after this final vote in the House, the bill gets voted on by the House, and then it'll move into conference where the Senate and the House can come together, and hopefully Senator Gabbard will be able to get the road transfer language inserted back into it once they have their full group discussion. So we're still very hopeful, and just the fact that the bill has kept moving is a big, big deal and a big win for us. So we're hopeful that when it gets to conference, we'll be able to insert that language back in to the bill so it can be that road transfer bill big win like we're looking for.
My name is Greg Peters, and I used to be the president of the Conference State. I've been on the board for life, been president for life. There's no issue of the
Yeah,
plans been
decades.
And I'm really kind of disappointed because I read a statement from Mike Warren, the managing director of the city. And the city's been fighting this because he indicated that it's gonna take $100 million to bring the roads and infrastructure up. And it seems like this back and forth with this.
Right. Yeah, so something I just learned about it, is that one of the reasons that they were trying to chop up the bill is that the roads over here apparently aren't to city code.
Right.
Right. So maybe something, if it doesn't work out this year, the road transfer, next year, hopefully, maybe we could get the roads, to the city standards so we could execute the road transfer bill.
You know, that answer you just gave, I've been hearing that answer.
Right.
For how many years now? And didn't Mike Hornby said that the city would take over if they only have to pay $60 million or, you know, so there was a negotiation thing going on.
Wow.
Where they would take it for a decrease. What happened with that?
I'm not sure. I could definitely find out for you though and get back to you.
And did they, are they the ones who initiate the pushback against this bill because they're, you know, the state wants to force them to take it. And then Mike Hornby said, you can't force us to take something without just an adequate compensation.
Yeah.
And that's, if that again were the whole thing stuck in the craw again, where, you know, how much, which side is gonna pay the most?
Right.
You know, how are you gonna work that out? And meanwhile, the people in Honolulu.
Well, who
I
allowed
know.
the streets to be built
It was Act 15, Act 15,
without meeting the appropriate standards?
back,
I mean, that's-
back during the YA administration. Because they wanted to build Honolulu in a fast track manner, the state legislature enacted Act 15. The city at that time was the honorable Bank Posse and who's the Arnold Gabbard, who was the city council president at the time, who were arguing against it. They said it would have unintended consequences. And sure enough, it did have unintended consequences. Because when the state was ready to start, because a bit of history, when developers make something, they supposed to do it up to code, and then they turn it over to the city.
Right.
Okay, in case of Copper Lake, there's only one, hasn't happened. Because, you know, the city said, no, he didn't do it up to code, and the state at that time said, no, everything is right, and everything like that, and the city said no.
Yeah.
And that's been going on ever since.
Yes.
And you know, believe me, I've been sitting in a lot of meetings, and my own thought was, number one, give the homeowners and the residents of Copper a tax rate. And everybody's, we don't want a tax rate, you know, because they've been dutifully paying their taxes for 30 years. Okay? And isn't that what this whole country was founded on? Taxation without representation? You know? So that was my question I was gonna ask as Senator this morning was, where is that? I mean, and this seems to be negotiations still going on between the state and the city. And, you know, and reading the language into the bill, it doesn't really address that monetary thing. And that's why I believe the whole thing was pulled out of the bill, because they're still at odds over who's gonna pay for what.
Yes, exactly. I believe so too.
And that's what I like to know, where is that at? Because, you know, it's just, I'm just beyond frustration.
100%. I completely understand your frustrations. We're really hoping that when the bill gets to conference, the companion bill that Diamond Garcia had
Yes.
introduced. Yes, so that one still has all of the provisions still in it regarding the road transfers. So when they get to their discussion, they'll be able to look at the companion next to the Senate version that got amended. And they'll be able to discuss, hopefully getting the transfer back in, and then they'll know for certain that it is the city's responsibility. So just to give you guys a super fast update, we contacted the developers for the Lively project that the community's been having some pretty big concerns about regarding traffic, the infrastructure, and environmental, and just really congesting the area over here. So they did add more parking stalls, is what they updated us. So I just wanted to tell you guys that because I thought that was a big deal. So prior to the update that we received earlier this month, it was only 1.3 stalls per apartment, which is not good considering they were multi-bedroomed apartments. So they most likely would be having more than one car there, causing a lot of congestion. It is. Yeah, it's right across from the Walmart. Yeah. Yes. Yes. And they let us know that they are currently in the works of adding 2 stalls for each apartment and trying to add another exit and entrance to ease the flow of the traffic within the lot and entering the highway. Concerns have been raised about that. So we've been doing our best to reach out to their office to understand like what they're doing to ease like the community's concerns. So for the traffic, so when I asked them about the traffic, they mentioned that they're adding multiple entrances. So disregard what I previously said about 2 entrances, they're going to have 3 different entrances, which will help the spread of cars out and entering. So all the driveways will be a right turn in to keep the flow. So they're trying to make sure that there's no left-hand turns, no like stops. So it'll just keep it going nice in a circle, hopefully. So they are trying. It is 10 o'clock. So thank you guys very much for coming. Again, I apologize that Senator was unable to make it today. He really wished he could have been here. But please keep your eyes open because May 17th is when we're planning our big legislative wrap-up listen story, where Senator will go over all of his bills and all of community interest bills and what happened with them, everything he had that passed. And I'll give you a big full update on the legislative session. Thank you guys very much. Yeah, thank you guys for being so nice to me as well and being very patient with Meg and I. Might be a different story.